She's so fine. Hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
What's good, guys? This video is going to be regarding the Kenneka Jenkins case, and specifically, Zack TV1's interview with Irene Roberts. Now, no matter how many other cases I cover on my channel, I continue to come back to the Kenneka Jenkins case because it is a large interest of mine. I have spent a lot of time looking into this case, researching things in this case, and I just want to say this, regardless of whether I'm monetized or not, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's a genuine interest of mine. It was a genuine interest of mine way before I got monetized. But I specifically want to go back to Irene's interview with Zack TV1. Because I want to go over some of the things that we learned in that interview. We learned a lot from that interview, actually. Now, I know that this is in Irene's words. And several of the things she said was of her opinion or her feelings. And as I always say, all feelings aren't fact. But I want to just go over some of the things that she said in that interview. I'm not going to play the interview. Anytime I touch a Zack TV1 video, I get bukus of notices from YouTube, so I'm not going to go there. But I will recall what she said because I've watched the interview more times than I care to comment on. Now, let's start here. The party was on the 8th, went into the 9th of September 2017. The interview with Zack TV and Irene took place on September the 14th of 2017. Now, this is 4 days after Kenneka was found in the freezer. So, Zack TV starts off the interview talking about how he had been in New York and he had been in every borough, and everybody was commenting on the Kenneka Jenkins case. Now, he gets into the Irene interview, and he says that while he was in New York, he sees that somebody published her address publicly online for people to know where Irene lived. She said she had been threatened. Her mother had been threatened. Her sister had been threatened. And even her son had been threatened. She did say that the room was 926. That was on the 9th floor at the Crowne Plaza, Chicago O'Hare in Rosemont. And she also says that's her first time ever going there. She said that the party started jumping at like 2 a.m. And that would have been on the 9th, September the 9th, 2017. I think it's important to note, she never makes mention of anyone contacting her in the parking lot, okay? But she does say that Kenneka called when she was downstairs, saying basically, how do you get there? We don't see that on the video. We don't see Kenneka talking on the phone to anybody on footage, surveillance footage. So I don't know if that was Irene's perception that Kenneka was downstairs when she called, but Kenneka was really outside at the gate trying to get in, or what. But that is important to note. This is also important to note. Zack TV talks about her putting the notice on Facebook, a flyer. And she talks about the people that came, and people were bringing friends of friends, she says. So he asked her why she went live. She said that's something that she normally does. She just goes live whenever she feels like it. And he said, okay, more or less kind of like advertising, hey guys, I got a party going on. But she said that during that live, it was dry. Her party was dry. It was not jumping at that time. So, I don't know if she's just agreeing with Zack TV. Because that is a thing that you do. If you're at a pretty hype party, you go live to get more people there. You're showing them that you got something popping on the video. Something that will interest somebody to want to come. But if your party's dry, why would you go live? So, I'm still not understanding why she went live in the first place, okay? She does admit that she was high off ecstasy. She further goes in to say, Zack asked her if that was her actual birthday. She says that her birthday was 3 days previous on September the 5th. Let's see. I made a lot of notes here. She also tells us that Kanika was drinking and that she fell into a lamp. All right. She goes in and starts talking about when Bree being gone. That she was ducked off somewhere with the guys, but she had returned later on in the night. But before she got back, she said that Monifa, Shemaya, and Kanika were out in the hallway. She would not speculate on what was going on out in that hallway. She wanted no parts of that. Which she shouldn't have wanted any parts of that. She wasn't out there to see what was going on. No one's ever said Irene was out in that hallway. But she does say that Shemaya came in and Monifa came in, and it was 30 seconds later when they came back and said that Kanika was missing. Now, this is a problem that I have. I don't care if you're high off X. I don't care if you're drunker than Cootie Brown. If someone comes into a party where I'm at and says there is a person missing, I'm paying attention. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just different. I don't know in my 19-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old brain how I would feel about that. I can't honestly speculate on that, but I know that at this point in my life, if somebody had come in and said that, I would be all over that. I would be wanting to know more about it. I would have become very interested in that. Now, this is after the party and after Irene has went home. She said she had messaged Lenore asking her if there was any update on Kanika. She went back to the hotel the following day. All right. She went back with, I think I got that wrote down somewhere. I know her sister went with her, and maybe Chalo went with her. But regardless, she went back and they went to the 9th floor and were banging on doors with Lenore. While they're up there banging on these doors, her sister, Lenore, Kanika's sister, gets a call and they went down to the lobby. When they got down to the lobby, Irene said the police were there. That's when they were asking, have I seen you before, what have you, to Irene. She then says, quote, her sister and them, end quote, reviewed the tapes. They see them coming in the main entrance and see Kanika come in the back entrance. So I don't know who her sister and them are. I know Lenore had brought some people with her. But it is important to note that Lenore did review the tapes while she was there on the property, according to Irene. exactly what the RPD said to Irene. That's Rosemont Police Department, Public Safety Department. This is her quote. "Haven't you been in trouble before? I've seen you before." That's a strange thing to say to someone who just lost their friend. I'm just saying. Irene made this statement when she received the text that Kanika was found in the freezer and her hair was all over her head. Irene made the statement, quote, "She must have tried to put up a fight," end quote. Now, this is where it got interesting for me, personally. She says, she's talking about how they're saying, they being Rosemont Public Safety, that Kanika was extremely drunk and went into the freezer. Irene's asked the question, how did she open that second door? She said she knew there was a first door. Or they said she went in the first door. How did she open that second door? You're drunk. You're weak. It's not rocket science that a drunk person can't open a real strong door. These are silver strong doors. Zack says to her, "Did you see the freezer yourself?" And she says no. Zack then says, "They said that she might have accidentally took the elevator down to the basement." Irene says, "Right. I heard his story talking about the lower level." I don't know who she's referring to as his. I don't know if that's Andrew Holmes. I don't know who she's speaking about when she says his story. But I want to go back to the freezer. She said she didn't see the freezer. Now, I've asked around with credible people, and to everyone's knowledge, no party goer saw that freezer. Okay? So my question would be, how did Irene know that these were silver strong doors? It just makes me a tad bit curious. It's a strange statement to say if you're then saying you've never seen the freezer. I don't know if she's saying that based off of what maybe Lenore said, because we know that Lenore saw the freezer. Her and her mother were both in there and saw the freezer. Zack asks her if she had to make a guess, who did she think did something to Kanika? She says the creepy security dude. That was the first thing she said. Then she says, and I don't mean to be offensive here, I promise I don't, but I'm just quoting Irene. She said the white trans she, he. She goes on to say that creepy security guy that she's talking about is a short, she says Mexican. Zack corrects her and says Hispanic. The short Hispanic guy that knocked on their door. Now, I want to make note that that is not Friend's Cave that we're talking about. I think that kind of got lost somewhere. That's not who she's speaking about. Okay? There is a security guy that's been seen on footage who is a Hispanic male. And it's not Friend's Cave. Okay? She goes on to say that her sister, Lenore, said she's seen him talking about the trans person on camera for 3 hours. They came back and he's still there. Now, that's what Irene said. So when they came back to the hotel, that person was still there. She says to her knowledge, they never spoke to him. He or she. And I don't mean to be offensive. I promise I don't. Zack then goes into a different direction and asked her about only interviewing the black partygoers. And she said, yes, that's all they interviewed. That's it and that's all. We all know that that's not true. They did interview other people, both on the staff at the Crowne Plaza and other partygoers. And it was her, Chalo, and Sakara that went back to the hotel. She says, this is what Irene says. They, speaking about Lenore and someone from the Crown Plaza, went in the room and showed her the tapes. So Lenore saw the footage while she was at that hotel. Irene went on to say that she thought that someone in the hotel harmed Kanika, but not anyone from the party. She then goes on to say at around 39:30 on Zack TV's interview, she just makes the statement, "What's taking so long to show her mama something?" So I'm not sure about that, but regardless. She then says this statement about the freezer. She says, "The freezer was not even working, so how did that get on? That freezer don't work." How does Irene know that information? And she said it very matter-of-factly. You have to question that. How does she know that that freezer was not working? She goes on to say that the majority of the party was high off pills, but doesn't think that anyone put anything in Kanika's drink. She wanted everyone to know that she does not work at the hotel. Zack TV1 asked her about her and Monifa arguing on Facebook. She goes on to say that Chalo and Monifa had the argument on Facebook, not her. She then says that she wanted Monifa to say, this is what she wanted from Monifa. She wanted Monifa to say that she was the last person seen with Kanika. Because Monifa says she left Kanika by the door. She does admit, this is Irene, she does admit that Monifa has been best friends with Kanika since the 3rd grade. And that's important to note. That's not the first time we've heard that, okay? Monifa has said that herself. So I just wanted to go over some of the high points of Irene's interview. Specifically the comments that she made about the freezer. Both in the physical appearance of the freezer, considering that she had never seen it. And also the fact that the freezer was not functioning. Where did she get that information? So I'm going to end the video on that note, but I did just want to bring this back up again. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.